Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Guys, make sure you subscribe to all 3 channels with the little bell clicked if you want to keep abreast of everything that's happening in this crazy, wild world. As we've been doing over on Heart's Home, some messages that we've gotten from Yeshua. Very, very fascinating, I really think, and just inspiring to listen to those messages and let them soak in and let the tornado get out of there, get out of the way. Massive, dangerous tornado moving near Wellman, Iowa. We have a serious outbreak ongoing right now, guys, and I just want to share. We can affect these storms. Our consciousness can affect these storms, and if you have storms around you, I would wholeheartedly say use prayer or use mantras. We use mantras. That's what we feel comfortable with. And I mean, we've had multiple times tornadoes around us forming directly overhead, and we've made it through just fine. But that is exactly what we go to. And we can influence the storms. We can.
Oh, for sure. And we have to know and understand our energy and know that we can put a bubble of protection around us. And, you know, everything on this planet that you see manifest is a being of some kind. So your energy, pushing that energy away from you, pushing it out, creating a bubble, firstly yourself, and then your home, and then your neighborhood, and then go wider and wider and wider. But the closer, the better. The closer your bubble of protection, the stronger it is. But don't stop just there. Just keep pushing out the bubble of protection.
So we have Sigourney, Keota, and Hedrick, Iowa, all facing, this massive, massive tornado. There's multiple tornadoes right now that people are battling, and there have been injuries in some areas, as we're going to see. So, this is going to be a challenging day and night for many, many people through the center of the country. As you see this one, the Wapello County tornado, 4 miles south of Hedrick. Man, when you see something like this, it's scary. I mean, it really is scary. And, I had one pass, not even 100 yards in front of us in the road, literally like 1 block above us once. And just said prayers, put out that energy bubble, ask the elementals, because there are elemental beings that are right at work. Always. Elemental beings are at work constantly, keeping the manifest universe manifest.
Mm-hmm. They're always at work. Definitely, if you have house plants, I know you guys can feel them if you're listening to this channel. Utilize them, call them in for help, and believe it or not, your pets, they're super wonderful little angels too. So call everything around you to surround you and put you in that protective space.
This is also up in Iowa, Ottumwa, I think is how you would pronounce it. Another tornado. This is a big outbreak, and so much is about the sun, which we're going to touch on again. Keota, look at this. I mean, what a powerful system we have in place right now. Spring typically does give us the biggest storms. And we also see this is Little Rock and North Little Rock, Arkansas here. So our family in Arkansas, be aware. Everywhere in between, Missouri, be aware, guys. All the way up to Iowa. Yes, absolutely. Tornado on the ground causing damage. This gentleman, Jesse Forrester's wife, took this from Baptist Hospital in Little Rock. And interesting enough, there's 2 people that were in the hospital that got it at slightly different angle. Views from Little Rock Baptist moments ago, Crystal Benton. So multiple people watching the tornado go by, and what we've seen is at least 20 people have been injured in this tornado. In Little Rock, let's again send our intentions and prayers. May the storms dissipate. May they move in such a way that people be spared. As you can see here, chances for tornadoes and hail, and the wind has been pretty intense all day too. Very, very strong. And this is going right through the heart of the country. As you can see, all the way up to the Great Lakes. Everybody should have a tornado plan. And yeah, it's really tough if you live in a house that doesn't have a basement. Again, you want to go towards, the area most interior with the strongest walls. Closets could be good. Absolutely. I think we would hang out under the bed.
Yeah.
Because the bed I built, which I had shared photos with you guys, it weighs about 700 pounds. Mm-hmm. And it's very strong. We would definitely all huddle together under the bed. Now, here we have a CME that has occurred. Now, it's not Earth-facing. It's not directed towards Earth. And so typically they would say it wouldn't affect you. I think everything is affecting us now, and it seems like every time they say it might be a glancing blow, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what happened? Well, we got that wrong. Mm-hmm. So again, it's all about consciousness. Like Cindy was saying, everything out there, everything is conscious and has consciousness. Even, when people say, I was looking at somebody make a comment and they're saying, dumb as a rock. How do you know how dumb that rock really is?
Oh my gosh. Our stones, our rocks, our crystals, these are our elders. They carry the most amount of information. They carry the frequencies of the making of the planet. So, you can call it a dumb rock if you want, but they sure have a lot more information in them than what we think.
So we do have a minor geomagnetic storm right now, a G1. As you can see, it's actually tailed off, but we did have it a little bit earlier today, I should say. But just be aware, anything could happen at any time these days. That's the bottom line. A second giant hole has appeared in the sun, could send 1.8 million mile per hour solar winds towards the Earth, as you can see that. Now, these often form like on the poles. And so on the poles typically wouldn't affect us as much, but this is not on the pole. This is at a center point. And, again, we're heading towards a solar maximum for this cycle. And just be aware that there most definitely is going to be a lot of challenges ahead. In many ways, again, the sun in so many cultures is viewed as God. You see sun gods everywhere. We also have the Son of God, S-O-N, S-U-N. That makes me think about that old Star Trek. There was a Star Trek episode where everybody was worshiping the sun, and Kirk and Spock are having a discussion saying how silly and barbaric it is to worship the sun. And then they made reference to the sun, S-O-N, and then they were like, oh, well, that's okay. And I'm thinking, hello? Because, the sun is, in a way, it's a representation of source in such a massive way. And it is a relay. All those suns, every sun out there, every star out there, they are a relay for source that's giving us the conditions for life to be experienced in this density. I mean, this is an amazing thing. It's a being, it's a consciousness, it's a collective.
What's really kind of interesting is I don't know how much they teach about plasma in school now, but when I was growing up, I really didn't hear much mention of plasma. There's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. And guess what? Our bodies are made of plasma, and the sun is made of plasma. So of course, when the sun speaks, our bodies are going to listen. It is one in the same. So little things they kind of neglect to tell us.
So there's two massive coronal holes. One's 18 to 20 Earths across, the other's 30 times the size of Earth. And these can release streams of, highly energized wind, basically, in our way. all this is a beautiful thing in that it's triggering our reintegration into a new level of wholeness, is what I think I would say. It's reawakening DNA. It's helping to correct the things that have been done to humanity by the controllers. They understand this. They know they have a limited time to try to lock down as many people into slavery in all its varied forms. As you know, this is basically the sun is the ticket to freedom, and the recognition of that. Why? That's the number one reason why they always put the clouds up there. It's to block the light. Light carries information that interacts with our bodies and our consciousness. It's a ticket to freedom. Yes, these coronal holes are fairly common, usually appear towards the poles of the sun again, where the winds are spewed into space. But as the sun is gearing up to peak in activity, which happens about every 11 years, these holes are more likely to appear near the equator of the sun. And then it will give us that wind coming in and blasting us. And again, can do a lot of things. Definitely, as we've been talking about consciousness, but also can trigger a lot of different phenomena on the face of the planet itself, including this. Amazing Steve appears over Bozeman, Montana. And no, we're not talking about Steve Quayle. This is something that they call Steve, which is a strong thermal emission velocity enhancement. Looks like an aurora, but it's not. And when I ask Cindy, what is this? She will share what it really is.
So funny how they found a human name for it. But no, this is a very, very large, this is a huge angel. This is a very large angelic presence. And it is there to speak to people in that area. So there's got to be a lot of people that are from that soul stream that are getting a lot of information. They're getting a lot of upgrades. They're getting a lot of help. And this is one way that these beings come and show themselves and say, okay, it's action time. You know, you came here for a purpose and now you're going to get turned on. And this is what's happening. It's this communication.
So you want to see an angel? There you have it. Now, of course, the scientists are going to call him Steve.
Yes.
This is Angel Steve. There you go. Absolutely. You know, they miss so much in trying to break things down into such little components that they can label in certain ways, but then they miss the bigger picture. And again, this is part of the bigger picture. California had its largest snowpack on record ever. 17 atmospheric rivers, several non-atmospheric river storms since December 2022 pushed California's snowpack to its largest level in recorded history, surpassing the previous record set in 82-83. The drought, and I could pull it up real quick. I was just looking at it the other day. The drought monitor looks so good compared to before. Now, again, all that water weighs a lot. And so Cindy and I both are very concerned about the possibility of major quake activity on the West Coast, in particular for April and May. That's really what I feel the most concerned with, maybe extending into the first week of June. But hey, look at this. When does it look that good in California as far as lack of drought? In fact, the totality of the country is improving drastically. Now watch us swing to the other way and become all water-saturated, soggy, and hopefully not too moldy.
Definitely.
You know, and be aware of the damage and dangers of mold. It is so dangerous to your health. Just wanted to just bring that up because that's one of those silent killers, so to speak. Now, Cyclone Freddy is most definitely a killer. 1,200 people have been lost due to Cyclone Freddy's presence that lasted seemingly almost forever here. Very intense. Tropical Cyclone Freddy made history as the longest lasting and highest ACE producing tropical cyclone ever recorded worldwide. Ever. Storm traversed the southern Indian Ocean for over 5 weeks. When do you see something like that hanging around for 5 weeks? That sounds so artificially flavored, if you know what I mean. It cost 1,200 lives, tremendous destruction, and of course, a lot of destruction not only to homes but to food supply.
Yeah, I mean, it's so horrible, and all of this stuff is so deliberate. And when something like this happens, it definitely happens where it happens for a very, very, very good reason, and that's to disrupt a bunch of other stuff, not just disrupt humans on their journey, but disrupt how they might help others.
Thirsty or stressed plants emit popping sounds undetectable to the human ear. Tel Aviv University scientists use special microphones to record ultrasonic sounds produced by tomato and tobacco plants inside a sound-protected box in a greenhouse. Researchers say they developed machine learning models to identify the conditions of the plants, including if they were dehydrated or diseased based on detected sounds. From previous studies, we know the vibrometers attached to the plants recorded vibrations. But do these vibrations also become airborne sound waves, namely sounds that can be recorded at a distance? Our study addressed this question, and the answer is yes. And again, does a plant scream when you're biting into it? Apparently so. Consciousness, again, is everywhere. But then Cindy also related how she had an instance where she had the realization of being an apple and only wanted to have somebody eat the apple so it could benefit them, and that she could take part in that experience as life supports life. Franz Barden, and I've quoted this book many times, Initiation into Hermetics. It's a very old book. Franz Barden, he's an interesting character and survived World War II. I think he died late 50s, I want to say, early 60s. And I had found his book as a 7-year-old when we moved into this creepy house. It was the only thing in the house, and I found it in the basement, tucked away in a corner. And so I couldn't understand it at first, but I kept trying to read it all the time. It was all about magic, real magic, working with elementals and many other things. It was really based on yoga. And so yoga is a science. And so much in the East is just right out there in the open. And it's not quote-unquote New Age woo-woo. New Age is, other than the Dark Age, it's actually a lot of information that we've learned from the Golden and the Silver Age. Of course, everything gets corrupted over time and infiltrated. That's just part of what the system does. But we know that everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And there is something called transmigration of the soul. So the soul, through its evolution, yes, there is evolution, there's also creation, there's both. It will obtain different bodies to learn new things and have different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's just a huge misconception out there when people look at trees, when they look at plants, when they look at grapes, when they look at other things, that they're just kind of like inanimate objects. They don't really have an understanding of their purpose or what they're doing, or what they're experiencing, and that's just not true. They absolutely do have that understanding of their experience, knowing that what their purpose is going to be. And that was really, really, really profound for me to have that experience. And I know some people are going to laugh, they're going to make jokes. That's fine. You're just not ready. But for someone going through an awakening and this experience comes to you, it really, it's changing. It's life changing. And then you're like, oh, wow, everything is, it's all one. And what I really love is our pets, and I love how they play, and I love how they play with one another, and I love how they interact with us. And they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little angelic beings who are here to help us in more ways than one.
Absolutely. So what I was going to say too, sometimes I start and forget to finish a thought, guys, is that what Franz Barden recommended was praying over your food. He said, yes, a vegetarian diet might help you spiritually in some ways, but he said it was more important to pray over your food, energize it, and put the intention that it will be healthy for mind, body, and soul, and put in the thank you for all the souls that made this possible. Whether it's the soul of the lettuce in the salad, or if, whatever it is that you're eating, be it, cow, pig, chicken, anything, give thanks and ask that consciousness have peace, love, and happiness. So it makes a big, big difference karmically.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
As always, guys, thanks for your support over on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.